Are you intentional about your discipleship? I've been asking that question, maybe because it's Lent here recently. And the first thing I had to wrestle with is what exactly does that mean, being intentional with discipleship? Maybe it'd be helpful to reframe the question. If I ask you the question, are you intentionally eating healthy? Well, you'd know where to start there, right? You would review what you're currently ingesting and how it's making you feel. You would take a look at the current literature, maybe ask some friends about what they're doing and how the difference it's making in their life to eat healthy. And then you begin to practice. You may start small, maybe make a couple of changes and see the impact on your focus and your energy. I think that's a really helpful way to think about being intentional in our discipleship. It's a commitment to follow Jesus closer and closer by implementing spiritual practices in our life. And I love that it's spiritual practice. We can try things. And so I invite you to do that. Review where you currently are. What practices are you doing? And what difference are they making in your life? And maybe you have an honest assessment and say, really, I'm not doing anything intentional. Well, so it's a perfect place to start because everything is on the table then. I encourage you to take a look at the current literature. Scripture would be a great place to start. Ask some friends. There's great books about spiritual practices. Richard Foster is one of the premier writers and thinkers on what does it look like to have spiritual practices. And then just begin to practice. Pick something. You don't have to do everything at once, but pick something. And just begin to put that into practice in your life and see the difference that it's making. There's two that I'm going to highlight really quickly that have made a huge difference for me. The first is I pray the prayer from the Book of Common Prayer, the morning prayer every morning. It takes me about 5 minutes. And it's liturgy. It's written for me. And it helps me to focus on God and on forgiveness, on an attitude of gratitude. It also includes a psalm. And it just reminds me that God has been at work all night while I've been asleep. And God wants to so prepare my heart for his love and for my service to the community. The second thing that's been so meaningful for me is I journal. I write my prayers out. I write down what I'm grateful for, and I write down the people that I'm praying for, and continually just remind myself and center myself that way in prayer. And the cool thing is I can look back over the years, literally, that I've been doing this practice and see the answers to prayer. And it reminds me that God's at work. Even when sometimes I don't feel it, that I can know that God has been at work and answering prayer. I encourage you to become intentional about your discipleship. Whatever that looks like, start small and be consistent and know God's going to meet you in the middle of it and grow your love for him and your love for your neighbor.